this second screencast, I'm going to show you how to do visualization of the mnist data. So here we're going to show you basically the same thing that we did in the last tutorial. We're going to try to visualize this image digits data set. And the difference is that the data set is going to be in a completely different format. So it's going to be a little bit of an exercise in data manipulation to try to see if you can understand how to get it into the same format that we need for visualization using ggplot2. So this is the code that we used for last time with ggplot2, so I'm just going to copy it. So here we have some code that I was using in previous screencasts to use the keras library in R, which we're eventually going to be used to implementing the convolutional neural network. I'm going to paste that data visualization code down here. I'm going to invoke R with and execute this keras code, which is going to download this mnist data set to this mnist object in R. So again, this is another image classification data set where we're trying to classify each image as one of the 10 digits based on its pixel intensity values. And so yeah, in this screencast, we're going to see that it's going to take a few different operations to get it into the right format that we need for visualization with ggplot2. So here, let's do a str to get a look at the structure of the mnist object that we just downloaded in R. So this thing, it's a list of two lists actually. So what this means is that the first list is called train, and train is itself a list of two things. The first thing is called X, second thing is called Y, and this is a data set with 60,000 items on the first dimension, 28 items on the second dimension, 28 items on the third dimension. It's an array. So, or you can think about it as a 3D tensor, and R, the data type, is called an array. So, the 28 by 28, those are the number of rows and columns in terms of pixels of the image, and then this 60,000 is the number of observations, number of images there. And so then to figure out what digit it is, here we have this other thing y, which is giving you the digit that's or the label, which is 5041 whatever, right? So in the last tutorial, we were visualizing this kind of data using a ggplot with by passing a data table with call I, row I, and intensity and observation I, and label. So these are the columns that we need to create based on this data that we have here in this list format. So how are we going to do that? So so the first thing that we can do maybe is just so we're gonna have to create a data set like this. So maybe instead of calling it zip sumtol, let's call it mnist sumtol. Yeah. And so let's do this first by doing a for loop for observation I in 1 to 10. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna create a small data set with just the first 10 observations in the training set. Yeah. And so here I'm gonna initialize a variable called mnist sum tall list. I'm gonna initialize that as an empty list, and so in every iteration of this for loop, I'm going to write a data table to this list. So it's going to be a list of data tables, and each one of these data tables is going to have all this information that I need. So the first thing that we're going to save is observation I. After that, we're going to save row I, call I, intensity, and label. Right? So how are we going to do that? Well, so first things first, observation I Observation, let's just initialize one value there. Observation I, let's say that this is equal to 1. So if we wanted to just get the first observation in the train data set, that would be mnist train x 1. Is that going to work? Do I need, yeah, I think I need 2 commas because, let's just see if that works. Yeah, incorrect number of dimensions, right? Because it's got 3 indices, we need to provide 2 commas, yeah? So this is what the numbers look like in R. It's a big matrix or 2D array now if we're just looking at that one thing. So let's call that, pixel matrix or observation matrix, obsmat. And so this is going to be the intensities. So intensity equals as numeric obs at over 255, because that's going to be the max number, right? So if you look at these numbers, they go from 0 to 255. So we're normalizing it by dividing by 255 to get a number between 0 and 1. After that, we can say row I equals row obs mat, maybe as integer here. Call I equals as integer call obs mat. And the only thing that's left now is to get a label. And so how do we do that? We mnist train y and observation I. And here we have to change this 1 to observation I. So if we do that, let's take a look at what we get. Here we have to combine that list of data tables. So mnist sum tall gets do call r bind mnist sum tall list. So what is this thing, mnist sum tall? Well, it's this data table that we want, pretty much. So here we have 7,840 rows. We have the observation number for every one of those examples from 1 to 10. We have the row number going from 1 to 28, call number going from 1 to 28, intensity values, which are going to be between 0 and, although we only see zeros here, and the label, which is going to be the label of the guy. So let's see if that works. So we plug it into the exact same ggplot code that we had before. Look it up. So now what we see is that here we're looking at 10 different examples of images of digits. Here we can see the observation number in the panel. This is observation 1, the label number is 5. Observation number 2, the label is 0 here. And you can see what the values of each of the pixel intensities are, going from 0 in white all the way to 1 in black. Alright, so that concludes what I wanted to show in this screencast. Basically, I wanted to show you how to download the mnist dataset, reshape it into the form that we need for visualization, and then make a visualization using ggplot2. Thanks for listening.